All right, basses. I knew you missed my whiteboard, so this is the video featuring our lovely whiteboard that's still in excellent shape, as you can tell. All right, so this video is great if you have your instrument at home or also if you don't have your instrument. This is a little bit different than the other D string review video. The other one is really more helpful if you have your instrument. So for this one, we are going to be taking a look at where the notes are on the bass, where they are on the staff. And then I have this fingering chart here, which is like a picture version of our instrument for people who can't draw, like me, just boxes and squares. I can handle that. So the first thing that I want to do is just review the string names on the bass. Remember your sentence, good dogs always eat. You can pluck with 2 fingers. I'm going to pluck way up here. Normally, you would pluck down here, but to be able to get everything on camera, I'm going to do it like this just for the moment. So we've got G, D, A, and E. So farthest to closest. Good dogs always eat. So today we're talking about the D string notes. So this second string in here, open D. If we wanted to just play our open D and get that on the staff, that note is going to go right on the middle line. Now, when we're talking about our note, we have the circle part, the note head, and then we have the line, the stem. Notice how the note head is on the very middle line of the staff. Whenever we see that, we play our open D string. Even if that note head is on the middle line of the staff, but it looks different, let's say it's not filled in, or let's say there's no stem, it's still the note D. Where it is on the staff tells us what note it is. What it looks like after that tells us how long it is. That gets into rhythm, and we'll have some review of that in a different way later. So I have my open D. I want to go up 1 note. So I'm going to go to that tape that is the highest up on my bass, add my first finger there, make sure I've got nice relaxed thumb back here, pull that bass back. That gets us first finger E. So I'm going from this line to the very next space to get 1 note higher. Now, if we were to label the notes, just a friendly reminder, if we put the note names, we're going to put those below the note. So like this was D. The next one is E. If I were then to put finger numbers on here, those would go above my notes. So 0 and 1. Now, also remember that we don't always want to be putting a name tag on our notes. If I had made you put a name tag every single time I saw your class last year, do you think I would have learned your names? No, probably not. So you need to learn to recognize the notes as well. So putting a name tag on them is good for practice, but you also need to get comfortable recognizing the note without its name tag on. All right. Now, I am a little behind. I forgot to move you over to your fingerboard or your fingering chart here. So if I hold the bass here, it is going to line up with my fingering chart. So we have our good dogs always eat. G string, D string, A string, E string. Open string names go up on the top. So good dogs, D string is right here. We're talking about what notes we get when we put fingers down on the D string. This line here shows the top tape on the bass. So we will only be filling in notes that are with the lines. We're only talking about tape notes in this video. So my first finger note, my first finger tape, I find that this line here on the D string, That gets me the note E. All right, working our way up to the next tape. So we're going from 1 to 4. We did do second finger last year. We're just not talking about that one today. Fourth finger, I go line, space, next line, D, E, next letter in the musical alphabet would be F. Now, when I use fourth finger, that happens to be F sharp. Notice how I did not put the sharp sign in front of the note here. We need to practice looking at our key signature to know which notes will be sharp or not. So we're going to go over here by our lovely bass clef. And if you see a sharp sign on the line where F normally lives, at the very beginning, that tells you that every F in the whole piece will be sharp. Doesn't matter if it's the one on the D string. It could be our way low one on the E string. It could be a higher one. All of those Fs are going to be sharp. So then above my note, I put a 4. Coming over to my fingering chart here, my next finger tape, this would be 2. There's no line. My next line would be finger tape for 4. All right, so now this takes care of our notes in first position. Remember last year in our D major scale, we shifted. We brought our hands to a new location. So last year, we only played G as open G. Today, we're going to talk about how we can play that same G, but on the D string. So I'm going to shift to my next set of tapes here. If I put my first finger down, that matches the sound of my open G string. So I'm working my way up, line, space, line, next space. This is the note G. Last year, we pretty much always would have put a 0 above it, but for now, we are shifting. So we put the dash to show that you need to move your hand to shift. And then I'm going to put a 1 over it. Now, when I come to my fingering chart, notice I do have a tape there. So my next tape, I'm going to put a 1 here. Sorry, not a 1. I am all messed up in your video, guys. That shouldn't have been a 4 there. That shouldn't be a 1 here. This is F sharp. This is G. It's been a long day of being on this computer, so sorry about those mistakes. All right, we've got one more note that we're going to talk about. Last year, after G, we went to A, right? And we played that A as first finger on the G string. I can also play that A on the D string with my fourth finger here. Notice how they sound the same. A, A. So we have line, space, line, space. We're going to the next line. This is the note A because we don't go to H. We restart and go to A. Now, I already, right here, marked my shift in. I'm already up here. All I need to do now is put my fourth finger down. So I don't put a dash here. I'm just putting a 4. We only put the dash in when our hand has to move. So if I were going like from this A back to this F sharp, I would put -4 for the next thing. We'll keep practicing that. So now I come over to my fingering chart. Got first finger. There's no mark here. There's no tape here. I want my fourth finger tape. So right in here, I'm going to put A. So now if you have your bass at home, your next job is to watch the other D string review video and practice with it. You will see all of these same notes. If you don't, you are going to be filling out something similar to what I have up here on the board. All right, basses, happy practicing.